Hello. Hi. So recently, today, I added a new study subject, that is Python. So officially, like studying at uni, I got how many? Five? I think I got five. Let me check. How many do I have? One, two, three, four, five. So I got discrete math, statistics and probability, pre-calculus, JavaScript, and Python. I got five because I wanna, you know, get to my uh, get to finish my master plan as long as I got energy for it. The only subject that is taking me long hours is discrete math. I'm taking it. Of course, I'm not taking it. All the other statistics and probability pre-calculus are both on Khan Academy, where there is and JavaScript and Python are on freecodecamp. So these four are both uh, are how to say it legitimate course. Like I'm taking the courses. For JavaScript and Python, I'm gonna end up with certificates. For statistics and probability and pre-calculus, I'm not sure if there is a certificate for it, but these two subjects are indeed is on the website. My progress is there. The percentage of mastery of the subject is there. Um, so everything is there. Besides these two subjects, or are are considered a review because I got a bachelor in civil engineering, and I have been through statistics and probability, also calculus one, calculus two, and differential equations. These are also going to be reviewed again, but it was taken briefly, and also it's been so long because I took it in the first two semesters of my study, my whole duration of study. So it became rusty. So I would have studied Java or algebra. I would have started with algebra, but come on, algebra is going to be practiced through pre-calculus and calculus 1 and calculus 2 and discrete math and calculus 3 and differential equations and numerical analysis. It's going to be practiced in all of them, so I don't really need it that much, the pre-algebra. I've got them here on this notebook. Algebra, I've already covered it. Algebra and pre-calculus, I've already studied pre-calculus intensively, but it's all rusty now, so I'm reviewing it. But discrete math, I'm not taking the course legitimately, like there is no certificate. Also, there is no record of it for me other than the streams that I do on this channel, doing the problem sets. So what I do in this, and I'm actually studying from the MIT OpenCourseWare materials. And it's traced back to 2010 only because the materials there are full with with problems. It's everything full. The materials there are complete. So that's why I choose 2010 according to the according to Claude AI. So, but yeah, MIT and also Harvard CS50X. You watch a long, what do you call it? A long lectures. It's like being at uni, long lectures, and then you get to materials. But it's more of a not teaching you how to swim exactly, but more of a throwing you in the water and you get it yourself when starting solving those problems. And that's because I'm not really sure because they have a devoted tutorials not tutorials. I think yeah, tutorial classes they take where they solve this problem with an instructor or a TA in them campuses. So that's what I'm missing, and I'm using instead of that Claude to as a TA. But the end point is I want to learn. Doesn't matter. So I'm documenting it and I'm learning it because it's gonna be handy in programming in general. Also, if happens to be legitimate courses for free that I want to take in there at MIT, like ML, DL, machine learning, or deep learning, or I'm gonna take it. But if not, I'm gonna use the same method in discrete math for everything I want to study, and I don't find a legitimate way to study it for free, of course, because seriously, I don't have money. But let's not take this into, you know, chit chat. And honestly, I've been awake for long hours and I've been studying for long hours. Discrete math only took me 6 hours. 6 hours, man. 6 hours. That's minus the readings that I had to do before doing the problems. It's actually discrete math is not as easy as I thought. But statistics and probability, pre-calculus, JavaScript, Python I just started. Those are, you know, they're divided in in the websites. They're divided into small videos or small tutorials and exercises, quizzes, and so it's much easier to you know take them. Much easier to see a progress in them. Discrete math, it's been, I don't know, 5 days or I don't know, 1 week or I have no idea. Let me check when did I start discrete math. Nope, that was it. So when did I start discrete math? Discrete math. I started it on the 21st of July. Now we are the 30th. So it's been 9 days since I started. I haven't finished with lecture one materials. So lecture one um, was or went through chapter one and chapter two briefly, and there were set problems, and I'm stuck at chapter two, the proofs. It's not as easy, but according to Claude, it's it's only the beginning. It's only the proofs, what it takes long to get, and then after it, everything is gonna be so easy. So I don't know about that. I'm thinking it's because it's more of a uni session where you dedicate a whole week for whole lecture. You take one lecture and then I was uni, so it's that's how it's divided. But it's been more than 1 week, so I should have been into lecture two, but I haven't finished the lecture one. Of course, I am taking uh, another things like I said every day, so it's gonna take a while to finish this, and then we're gonna jump to calculus, differential equation, numerical methods. Numerical methods is for the finite structural analysis in civil engineering. But now we're going to start Python. Python is going to be Python and statistics engineering, calculus, and discrete math, and differential equations. Those all the for machine learning, deep learning, and AI. Of course, I'm gonna take the series of CS50 and at Harvard, legitimate. Why not? For free. And uh, I'm finishing this whole certification, full stack developer uh, certificate at freecodecamp, which includes responsive web design, already uh, which I already got or earned or called what you call it. I already have it, the certificate. And then there is JavaScript, and then there is front-end libraries, which is libraries of JavaScript and TypeScript, React, etc. It's a combination of. And then I got this is the third certificate. The fourth certificate is Python. Of course, I've started Python simultaneously with not simultaneously, like I started Python today when I am already in step 400 something out of 1300 something at JavaScript. So I jumped over front end libraries only because Python is, I found it to be important at personal projects that I'm doing. So after finishing JavaScript, I'll go to front-end libraries because that's, of course, a prerequisite, the JavaScript for the front-end libraries certificate, but the Python doesn't require anything in advance to study it. So I took it alongside JS at the moment. And then after that, I'm going to have SQL and databases certificate, and also the final step is getting the backend serve backend and APIs certificate. Those all five certificates or micro certificates, call them, um, makes a whole certificate makes a big come join passing them all and having all those separate certificates gives you the chance to enter the final exam, which is about all those five certificates, which if you pass it, you get the large or big certificate, which is full stack development certificate or full stack developer certificate at freecodecamp. It's fucking huge effort, and it's amazing, and it's a good way to start programming actually. And then we'll from there we'll see what we end up with, as it says in the channel. I don't know where am I gonna go after that. I know I'm gonna end up. I'm after the like, you know what I mean. Like, I know about what I've already told you: MLDL, AI, the math. Those all things I know. But after finishing all these things and the full stack, I don't know where I'm going with this. I know that I'm going to be doing some projects that has money in return. That's going to earn me money in return, like MMR and AAR, annual return and monthly in return revenue. But I'm not going to be able to start those without the Python or without the completion of the full stack development. To be honest, I got no money to start with as a, like I got no money to pay for those AI coding services like Cloud Coder or Codex, GPT Codex. So I'm gonna start doing them myself. Also, it's much better to know what you're doing before starting using those AI because it's gonna be charged by tokens, and the less tokens you have, the less money you're gonna pay, and therefore to do that you have to know what you are doing. So it's gonna be useful either ways, but that's gonna make it quick. That's the only advantage of using AI is you're gonna finish projects quick. And without further ado, let's do this Python certification understanding. Next part, understanding variables and data types. So, how do you declare understanding variables? How do you declare variables and what are naming conventions to name variables? It should be easy. So it says in Python, variables are like a labeled box of storing and referencing data of different types. To declare variables in Python, you assign a value to. Wait. I'm leaving you. What you mean? That's not good. Let's give this. I don't know, like this. Okay, so how do you declare again? How do you declare variables and what are naming conventions to name variables? We'll say now we'll start with in Python, or it starts with in Python. Variables are like a labeled box for storing and referencing data of different types. To declare variables in Python, you assign a value to an identifier with the assignment equal operator. You don't need to use special keywords like let or const as in JavaScript to declare it. In JavaScript, like let or const or char in C sharp. In Python, you just write the name of the variable on the left, followed by the assignment operator and the value you want to assign the variable on the right. Is an example of how to declare name and age variables. Name equal John Doe. Of course, this is a string. Age equal 25. This is a number or an integer. In the example above, the variable name holds the value John Doe. This value is a string, which is a series of characters used to represent a text. Strings are written with a single or double quotes, for example, hello, hello. In future lessons, you will learn more about working with strings in Python. When naming variables, in Python, there are some important rules you should keep in mind. Variable names can only start with a letter or an underscore, not a number. Okay, variable names can only contain alphanumeric characters A to Z, A to Z, 0 to 9. Um, letter or underscore, no. Okay, an underscore. Sorry, guys, how to mute this. Sorry, how to mute this. I'm not sure how to mute it. Sorry. ايوه 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 ابشر ابشر ما انت تبغى ابشر يا سلام. Okay, 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 okay. Naming variables. Okay, we reached variable names can only start with a letter or an underscore. We get it, letter or an underscore, not a number. Variable names can only contain alphanumeric characters A to Z, A to Z, capital, this small, this capital, from 0 to 9, and underscores. Okay, so ايوه ايوه ها طيب 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 اوكي يلا مساء يلا مساء. Okay, variable names are case sensitive, meaning age and age are all considered unique. Variable names cannot be one of Python's reserved keywords such as if, class, or def. This is divine. This is like function, I think, in JavaScript. Look, I've already got a certificate in Python, but that was only 20 hours of work, and it's already rusty, and it wasn't as valuable as this one. Like there was no rigorous practicing like freecodecamp. It was only learning the basics. If you break any of those rules, if you break, so it wasn't rigorous, and this is more rigorous. If you break any of those rules, your Python program will throw a syntax error. Okay, 5 variable underscore name equal 5, syntax error, variable, what's happening? Invalid syntax, started with number, you know, started with a number. So we got, okay, but now let's go over some common naming conventions for variables in Python. First, variables names should be in lowercase with separate words separated by an underscore. This is called snake case. My variable name freecodecamp. Okay. Next, you should use descriptive names for variables. For example, if you want to save user's age as a variable, user underscore age is better than age, or an abbreviation like UA rather than age, or an abbreviation like user and yeah. So how does this differ from JavaScript? Convention JavaScript is using uh, small letters and capital letters for no underscore, capital letters for the next word, meaning that user is going to be user as it is, but this underscore is going to be capital A and G, small g and E. So, you know what I mean? So user age equal 30. This is actually reviewing the differences is beneficial for me. So this way you can easily communicate the purpose of variable. This way you can easily communicate the purpose of a variable to other team members or to your future self in a large code base. Another convention is to avoid using single letter variable names. Single letter variable names. What does that mean? Single letter variable names? Oh yeah. This is very common in Python but should be avoided because variable names with a single letter communicate no purpose or meaning like X. What do you mean by X? Okay. This is actually good. The dash where there is the slash for the commenting. The bound symbol uh, and the text that follows in the example above is called a comment. You might already be familiar with comments, so let's go over them quickly and explain how they work. Python comment starts with a bound symbol, and the language ignores everything after the bound symbol on that line. So actually, you can omit even um, um, even you can omit even functions or built-in functions, or you can omit any code, any part, any snippet of the code, any part of the code without the bound uh, symbol, or what do you call it, the hashtag, whatever you call it. Multi-line comments can be created by using consecutive single line comments. Okay, okay, okay. You can use comments to explain your code, leave reminders for yourself, or clarify why a line exists. Comments are especially helpful when you are learning or working in teams. However, you shouldn't use comments to explain what your variable names mean. Instead, the names you choose for your variables should be descriptive and communicate what they are for, and follow the other naming rules mentioned earlier to prevent syntax error. Which of the following is the correct way to declare a variable in a Python? Let age, const age, var age, age. Okay, which of these is not a rule for naming variables? Variable names must start with a letter or an underscore. Not a rule, this is a rule. Variable names are case sensitive. Not a rule. Variable names cannot use Python reserved keywords. This is a rule. Variable names contain letters, numbers, and underscores. Well, this is not a rule because of the numbers. Well, it can contain letters and numbers, but it cannot start. Variable names must start with a letter or underscore. That's correct. Variable names are case sensitive. That's correct. Variable names cannot use Python reserved keywords. That is correct. Variable names can contain letters, numbers, and underscores. That is also correct. What do you mean? Which of these is not a rule for naming variables? For naming variables. What do you mean? They're all rules. So let's go back. Where did we? What am I getting? Can only starts with an underscore, with a letter or underscore, not a number. Variable names can. Okay. Underscores. Okay. Variable names are case sensitive. Variable names cannot be one of reserved. Withdraw. What do you mean? Reserved keywords, built-in function, or whatever. Variable names can only contain characters and underscores. So what are we saying? What are we saying? Names cannot use Python reserved. Case sensitive. Variable names can contain letters, numbers, underscores. Is this? I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go. It's this, but it's not very clear. Okay. Why should you avoid using single letter variable names? They do not communicate the purpose of the value. Python don't. They increase. They use more. Okay. Okay. Here, names cannot use Python reserved keyword. Names are case insensitive. It is case sensitive. Insensitive. This case insensitive. It is case sensitive. So that's it. Okay. How does the print function work? So, excuse me, guys. I know this. We took so long at this. Then I'm gonna go. What a quick. Oh. So, where are we getting? How does the print function work? It's like a printf or console log. Printf in C and console log in JavaScript. So every programming language has some way to output data to the terminal with a built-in method, function, property or keyword. In Python, you can use the print function to print data to the terminal. Let's take a closer look at the print function so you can start using it with confidence. One of the first things you do when you're learning any programming language is to write a simple hello world program. Okay? You can do that really easily in Python with just the print function. To do that, you just need to put the string hello world in between the opening and closing parentheses you use to call the print function. Of course, it's a string. So, okay. You will learn more about strings and functions in Python in future lessons. For now, just consider strings as the sequence of characters surrounded by either single or double quotation marks. In the print hello world example, the string hello world is an argument passed to the print function. You can also use the print function to show multiple values. You can also use the print function to show multiple values or arguments. Also use the print function to show multiple values or arguments at once by separating them. Wait, what? Function show multiple values, argument once by separating them with commas, for example. Okay, uh, concatenation, it's called in JavaScript, and you use the plus sign, not the comma. Here, you separate them by comma. Okay, output, my favorite colors are blue, green, red. Python automatically adds a space between each item when you separate them with commas. Automatically adds a space. Okay, this is helpful when you want to print several pieces of information. Actually, the space. So this is very much like a review. Some things click, some things like the space is very helpful to me. Why does the following code print all the values on the same line with the spaces? Why does the following code print all the values on the same line with spaces? Print, my favorite colors are blue, values on the same line with spaces, because separating values with comma and print adds space between them. Okay, because strings are automatically joined together with no separator. Because each okay. What would the output of the following code be? Hello world. Hello world. Okay. What is the purpose of the quotation marks around hello world in the following code? Define a string to be printed by the print function used to call a function name. They are required only if the string contains spaces. They let Python know to print a variable name. To define a string to be printed, article. This one, okay, correct. What is this? This, I've answered this. The commas in print adds spaces between them. Okay, that's 50%. I still got two more. Two more topics or subtopics of the large topic. Sorry for take you along my journey. Okay, ask me later. What are common data types in Python? What are common data types in Python? Before working with Python variables, it's important to understand data types. A data type describes the kind of value on a variable holds, example, a number, a piece of text, or a list of items. Programming languages use data types so they know how to store and work with different kinds of information. Python is dynamically typed language like JavaScript, meaning you don't need to explicitly declare types for variables. The language knows what data type a variable is based on what you assign it to it. Unlike C, C++, I mean. Here are some examples. name equal Python knows this is string, Python knows this is an integer. This is in contrast to some statically typed languages like C Sharp, Java, and C++, where you have to declare types with variables like this one string name equal int age. Yeah, very similar to C++, I guess. This one, or it is C++. I already forgot. How does it look like? All what I remember is int main and stuff like this. So, okay, the dynamic typing nature of Python. Rusty. Everything is rusty in my head. The dynamic typing nature of Python makes coding really fast, more flexible, but it can lead to unexpected bugs. But it can lead to unexpected bugs because type errors are detected only when a program runs. But it can lead to unexpected bugs. Python makes coding really fast and more flexible. It can lead to unexpected bugs because type errors are detected only when a program runs, not when the program compiles. Since Python determines data types while your program is running, type-related mistakes are only discovered at the moment. When a program runs, Python executes your code line by line. If it reaches a line where a certain object is expected to behave in a way it's not able to, Python will stop and show an error. Python will stop and show an error in a way it's not able to. Python will stop and show an error where a certain object is expected to be. It's not able to. Python will stop and show an error. In contrast, some languages compile your program before it runs. Compiling means the computer checks your code in advance and prepares to run. During this step, those languages can catch type errors before the program even starts. You do not need to know those languages yet. The important idea is simply in Python type errors. In Python type errors, in Python, type errors can reveal themselves during execution when the program is actually running and using your code. Compiled languages catch compiled languages catch type errors during the compile step before the program is allowed to run. Because of this, you might not you might not learn about a type mistake in Python till the program reaches that specific line of code while running. Here are the most common data types you'll use in Python. Integer, a whole number without decimals, for example 10 or minus 5. Integer var equal 10. Variable, okay. New integer. Okay, this comment means it's gonna print integer 10. So float is a number with a decimal point like 4.41 or minus 0.4. So this is a float. I'm not sure. I think it's called decimal in JavaScript, but I never came to use it, to be honest, because you don't have to define it mostly, but where you can use it in the conditional statements, you can use is integer, is number, is, I think, something like that. Okay, my float var equal 4.4, 5. Float is okay. A string A. A string is a sequence of characters enclosed in a single or double quotation marks like hello world. A string var hello. My string var string. Okay. Boolean, a true or false type, written as true or false. True, false. Okay. Boolean is the same. Set and under and unorder. Set. This is something. I think it's like arrays or like objects. I'm not sure. Set an unordered collection of unique elements like 0.5 for apple. It's more of an array. It's like an array. Set is like an array. Okay. My set var. Okay, set's gonna print. I'm not sure if it's gonna keep the curly brace parentheses here. If it's gonna print it, actually, I'm not sure. It's like an array, it shouldn't be printed. I'm not sure. Wow, it's gonna be printed. Yeah, but if you go in a loop, I'm not sure if it's gonna. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, dictionary, a collection of key values. Dictionary, a collection of key value pairs enclosed in curly braces. This is like an object. This is an object. Dictionary it's called. Like, so the only difference, the parentheses, the brackets, the parentheses. So it uses the same curly parentheses, but here it gives you started with a string. Um, I don't know. What do you call this? It's of course not semicolon. So what is it? A colon? I don't know. Maybe colon. John Doe H colon, and then this is more of an object, and this is a more of an array, a set, and then dictionary. Okay. Okay, it's both uses curly parentheses. My dictionary var. Dictionary, my dictionary name Alice. H 12. Tuple. This is the first time. An immutable ordered collection, enclosed in parentheses like apple. So this is an order, and an ordered array, tuple. Starts with apple. Okay, my tuple var. It's gonna be useful when you call it, I think, or when you rearrange. Okay, arrange, a sequence of number often used in loops. For example, range 5. My range var. Range 5 is 0 to 5. Range 5. Okay. The loops. List, an ordered collection of elements that supports different data types. This is you using the brackets, the square brackets, much more like an array, but it's ordered collection of different data types. What do you mean? But this is an ordered collection of elements. Okay. Collection of key values. Immutable ordered collection. I don't know what immutable means. Immutable, I think it cannot be changed. Immutable, I'm reckoning it cannot be changed. Immutable, it means unchanging, fixed, permanent. Yep, where are we? So, yeah, there's a whole these list sets and dictionary and tuple. These this is from data types. Well, they all support different data types. Everything you mentioned here is different data types. Here is different data types. Here is different data types. Okay. My list. None, a special value that represents the absence of a value. Equal none. Okay, so you can't just declare the variable and let it be like, because there you use let const, semicolon, the name, the variable, and semicolon. Here you have to declare it a none to hold the space. In future you'll learn more about how to work with all of these data types. Question, what does it mean is dynamically typed? Must manually specify. Python does not support different. Python automatically determines the data type based on the sign. Python cannot change. Okay, I would go with this. Okay, what is the difference between an integer and float? That integers can store both positive and negative numbers. Floats can only store numbers that are whole numbers without decimals, while floats are numbers decimal points. Which of the following is true or Boolean? Okay, 75%. How do the type how do the type and instance functions work? In this like type of I think. Okay. In the prior lesson you learned about common data types in Python, including the string, integer, and float types. As you build out as you build out your programs, you will need to learn how to view the type for a variable. A variable. Here's an example variable developer equal divine Devon, okay, equal Devon. To see the type of developer is you can use type function like type developer class string. So what is a class? What do you mean class string? Okay, it goes string type developer is a string. This is a string. Is this the class or the string is a the class is the string? Okay. The output of class string means that developer is a string type. If you fail to provide any arguments to the type function, then you will receive the following error message: typesback most recent caller files stood okay in line 1 in model type takes one of three arguments. Here are all the data types you have learned far long with their types in terminal: int, float, string, boolean, set, okay, dictionary, dict, dictionary, tuple, okay. You know why? How we know it's a tuple? Look at the enclosing symbol. The enclosing symbol is brackets, normal brackets, I guess. Okay, range and list, square brackets, non-type. Okay, There will be items in your program where you will need to verify that a particular variable is a specific type before performing operations on it. Is where the isInstance function comes in handy. P times in program, then you need to verify that a particular variable is a specific type. In the operations on it, this is where isInstance function comes in hand. An example variable with a string assigned to it, account balance. If you try to do mathematical expressions like division using account balance, well then you will receive an error message because it's a string. Count balance over 2. Count balance over 2 is not canon because it's a string. Okay. Unsupported operand type is for str and int. Okay. It should be integer or a decimal or a float. To see if account balance is an integer, you can check using isInstance function like this. Count balance isInstance account false. Okay, two arguments. The built-in isInstance the built-in isInstance function lets you check if variable matches a specific data type. It takes in an object. If a variable matches a specific data type, function lets you check if a variable matches a specific data type. The built-in isInstance function lets you check if a variable matches specific data type. It takes an object in an object and the type you want to check it against, then returns a boolean. In this case, since account balance is a string, return false. The instance function also allows you to check for multiple types at once. An example of checking. Actually, JavaScript is much easier. You just type of and it shows you the type. You don't need to check if it's this type or this type. So it goes count balance, int float, true. Okay. In this example, account balance is an integer, so it returns true. If account balance were 12, instance would still return true because you are checking for integers or floats. In future workshops and labs, you will use type and instance functions to ensure your variables contain the correct data type before performing operations. And then wait, type, what does it return? Type. Type is like type of. Type a string. So why do I need isInstance? isInstance. If I got type telling me what type it is. I don't know. Maybe, perhaps, something I'm unfamiliar with. What will be the output of the following code? Type developer. It's gonna be class string. Which of the following functions used to check if a variable is a specific type isInstance? Okay. What will be returned in this use of the isInstance function? Int float true. Okay. Check. That's 100%. That's it for this stream. Next, we'll build a report card printer. Stay tuned for the next stream. See ya. Bye.